What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mod Squad Network's Layeth the Squad Down. I am your host, Kevin. Steve cannot join us this week. He is having technical difficulties, so please bear with me as I try to do this show all by myself. So before we get into it, make sure you check out our sponsor of the Mod Squad Network, Skullectomy by Jolt 7 Studios. Go check them out on Facebook. They have some amazing skulls. They are custom skulls. Just tell them what you would like and they can do it for you. Also check out the Mod Squad Network's Facebook page as we are doing shirts. I keep forgetting to load the all the shirts on, but we have our Mod Squad horror shirt, the wrestling shirt, the movie talk Monday. We have the gamer shirt, we have the regular Mod Squad Network shirt, and we have the blacked out shirt, which is always going to be available. But for this month of June, it is Pride Month, and we have the Mod Squad Pride Network shirt. It is a limited edition shirt. At the end of the month, they will be gone. They are going to be put in the vault and maybe never come back. We never know. All right, guys, I'm just going to jump right into it as Raw started out with Seth Rollins coming out to a huge ovation. As he posed in the ring, Finn Balor attacked him. Um, they fought at ringside for a little bit, and then it got broken up, and then they went into the back and fought again. Then the Miz comes out to the ring and says how he's angry because he was going to get a title shot because Seth Rollins was going to do an open challenge. As the Miz is in the ring, whose music hits but Ciampa? That's right, Ciampa's back, guys. Tommaso Ciampa is back. I'm so glad they had a match because at one point Ciampa and the Miz were together, and Ciampa got injured, and the whole time he's beating the Miz, he's like, I never got one text, not one phone call from the Miz, so he's angry. He thought the Miz was his friend, and he never checked up on Ciampa, so Ciampa just beat his ass. It was a decent match, not bad. Next we get Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. I can't remember how you say her name. The entire Judgment Day stable came out to deliver a promo beforehand, though, and about their various storylines. After a commercial break, we also got a backstage segment with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn before the women's tag team match got underway. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green battled Katen Chance and Chance and Carter. The Jersey Devil quickly took control. Chance and cornered her for a double team spot with Green. It ended up being a decent match. I'm not so sure about this tag team. I mean, they're really short, so we're gonna have to see if Chance and Carter can do anything with their size. They're very talented in the ring. I know Chance is a former ninja warrior, so we'll see. But Chance and Carter pick up the win. Then we have Indus and Cedric. Indus versus Cedric Ben and Shelton Benjamin, with Indus picking up the win. It was basically a squash. Logan Paul returned. He returned from a break to see Logan Paul sitting on top of a ladder in the middle of the ring. He talked about leaving Cleveland to pursue his dreams. Um, then we get people coming out. Almost everybody come out, including L.A. Knight. Yeah, let me talk to you. Oh, it's funny how LA Knight comes out and he's talking on the mic and he's like, he don't understand how Logan Paul is in the ring because all he does is make videos for 13-year-old girls. It was funny. It was a great little promo. Of course, a brawl broke out. So then Matt Riddle versus Ludwig Kaiser, with Matt Riddle getting the win on this one. The Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy. The Viking Raiders win. It was, you know what? These matches they're not really good lately here on Raw, so I hope they step up their game. Maybe it's they just haven't built up the storylines enough yet, but I'm not invested in any of these storylines really going on Raw. But we get Raquel Rodriguez versus Trish Stratus, which I actually thought was a pretty good match. Raquel Rodriguez actually picked Trish up and ragdolled the shiz out of her. But Trish Stratus picks up the win by disqualification. We get Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bronson Reed. Shinsuke Nakamura and Bronson Reed clashed a few weeks ago for the spot in the Money in the Bank, but this time they were fighting for their own pride to settle some issues. Um, Reed ended up attacking Ricochet, who came down to the ring, which caused him to get on the apron after the Australian shoved Nakamura into him. He climbed on the top rope and hit the tsunami for the win. So Bronson Reed picks up the win. Um, then we get Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and KO versus the Judgment Day. This is the main event of the night, guys, with Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens getting the win. Of course, they do. They did a great job addressing multiple feuds at once while still keeping the focus on the match. But it was still it this was a really good match. I'm not sure if it's my match of the week, but it was a good match. But there you go. That's Raw, guys. That's Raw. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to SmackDown. Maybe SmackDown. Here we go. SmackDown. We get the Bloodline kicked off the show. That's right. The Bloodline, on the heels of the betrayal of Roman Reigns, 3 years in the making, the Usos kicked off Friday's episode of SmackDown by setting up the Bloodline Civil War match against the Tribal Chief and Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank. Um, Usos are great on the mic right now. They're just killing it. It was a great promo. So yeah, that's how we kicked off Raw. Then we get Rey Mysterio versus L.A. Knight. And Knight defeated Mysterio. I thought Mysterio was going to pick up the win, but L.A. Knight got him a win, and I like it. Then we get the Women's Tag Team Championship Unification match. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defeated Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, which was so predictable. I don't even know why they had this match. I guess they had. I mean, Isla Dawn and Fire, they put up a great fight against the Rousey and Baszler, but come on, guys. Who's going to beat those two? I mean, unless it's like a squash, unless it's like a surprise victory, or you're not going to beat these two one-on-one. I mean, you're just not. Then we had the Grayson Waller effect with Pretty Deadly, yes, boys. Um, while they're on the Grayson Waller effect, they faced their talking about their biggest opponent to date, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the Undisputed Championship. On the heels of victory over the Street Profits and all those guys in the Gauntlet match, Street Profits come out and challenge them to a match though, and Pretty Deadly defeat them. They're giving Pretty Deadly a good push. It was, of course, this was a great match. Pretty Deadly is super talented in the ring. I don't really care for their gimmick because I just don't. Street Profits. I did like the fact that during this match, this Montez Ford took off the little half shirt of the blonde and put it on and for a minute. That was pretty funny. But yeah, the Pretty Deadly gets the win because of cheating, of course. The foots were on the ropes and pinned down onto the ropes by that half shirt. So, yeah, they cheated to get the victory, but they won. We get Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans in a super sleepy match. Flair defeats Evans. Sheamus versus Solo Sikoa, guys. This was the match of the. This was, in my opinion, one of the matches of the night. I love a hard hitting fight. I love a hard, just brutal match. It was my match of the night, but it ended in a no contest with a referee stoppage after Solo put Sheamus through the barricade. So, but up until that point, great match. It was hard hitting, of course, but that was my match of that was my match of the night. Should be main event. I don't know if it'll be my match of the week. I'm not sure. But we're gonna move on to some AE dubs, guys. AE dubs. Um, let's see. The Hardys versus the Guns. You would think that this would be a really good match, but it had its flaws, guys. It definitely had its flaws. The Guns defeat the Hardys. Um, this to quote Jim Ross, business picks up when that guy is on TV. Said, but I just can't. That it wasn't that great of a match. We get the concession stand brawl, Mark Briscoe versus Jeff Jarrett. This Briscoe defeated Jarrett. You get Karen getting involved. You get Sanjay Dutt getting involved, but Briscoe still picks up the victory. So it was cool because Papa Briscoe actually came out and to help him, to help his son get the win. So that was cool. That was very cool. You get trios action. This is my match of the week, guys. This was my match of the week for sure. The contest first match on Wednesday showed Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara defeat Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and AR Fox. This was a really good match. I enjoyed this match. Um, it was, I mean, come on. It was funny because I forget who. I think AR Fox was chopping Suzuki, and Suzuki just looks at the camera, smiled, and just beat the shit out of whoever was chopping him. Can't remember who it was, but Suzuki, Jericho, and Guevara defeat Fox and Andretti. Then we get a promo by Adam Cole. Following Adam Cole promo that was predictably interrupted by AEW World Champion MJF, we know two things. The rivalry will team up in an eliminator tournament to determine number one contender to AEW World Tag Team Champion, and the self-proclaimed Devil will battle the legendary Hiroshi Tanahashi at Forbidden Door on Sunday night. Sorry, guys, I'm horrible with names as I'm reading, of course. Please forgive me. Tony Schiavone made the first announcement before Cole expertly goaded the crowd before MGF into accepting Ace's challenge for this weekend's pay-per-view. So Adam Cole and MJF are going to team up to try to win a tag team championship. It was a decent promo. It could have been better, but they had to introduce themselves. Rivalries becoming tag teams. It's an honored tradition in wrestling at this point, so why not do it? We get Orange Cassidy and Shibata versus Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. This was a pretty good match as well. It went back and forth, but we get Sabre and Garcia defeating Cassidy and Shibata. So there you go. Then we have the TBS Championship match: Chris Statlander versus Tyra Valkyrie. Statlander defeats Valkyrie. This was a really good women's match. If I had to grade this, I'd probably grade it a B plus. Um, this was one of those matches that I don't know much about Chris Statler or Tyra Valkyrie, but it makes me want to watch more of their matches. They're very good in the ring. There we go. Then we get Eddie Kingston promo about Brian Danielson called out Kachu Okada. Guys, again, please forgive me. I am reading and names are hard. Words are hard, people. Words are super hard. Um, expect to see some drama in this match in the upcoming future. Expect to see some drama. Eddie Kingston and Daniel Bryanson called out Okada. So there we go. It was a good it was a good show. Dynamite was a decent show. For what it was. It wasn't the best show. It was the middle of the grade. It did probably have my match of the week though with the Jericho uh, match. So there you go. Then we are going to move on to Rampage, which oddly enough I did watch this week, and Steve's not on, so I can't talk about it with him. Um, we get Chaos versus Swerve Strickland and United Empire, which is Swerve Strickland teamed up with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher and Jeff Cobb to take on Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, O, and Rocky Romero. But Swerve Strickland and the United Empire get the win. Really good match. Then we get Adam Cole and MJF segment. Um, Nothing really conspired there, but we get The Acclaimed versus two jobbers. The Acclaimed, of course, pick up the win. Then we get a really, really good match. Anna Jay versus Sky Blue. Anna Jay took on Sky Blue in the first round match for the women's bracket of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Oh man, Sky Blue picks up the victory. I am becoming a huge, huge, huge fan of Sky Blue. She has some great assets. So yeah. Then we get Jack Perry versus oh my gosh, Dookie. Jack Perry versus Dookie. With Jack Perry getting the win, Jungle Boy picking up the win. And that was the main event of the night. So there you have it. That is Rampage, that is Dynamite, that is SmackDown, and that is Raw, guys. Overall, wrestling this week, in my opinion, it was if I had to grade wrestling this week, it would probably just like be like a C plus to B minus grade. There's no real leaps in storylines for any brand. Um, so yeah. There you have it. So at this point, this is where I would ask Steve, where you find him? And usually you can find him at the last podcast you'd want. You may find me there on there because we did a flash recap show. So go check that show out. The last podcast you'd want, you can find it on YouTube. Go check out Back to the Retro Review. That is my channel where I review movies from the 80s and 90s. It is also the sister channel of the Mod Squad. Go check out the Daily Dank, another sister channel of the Mod Squad, or it's within the Mod Squad scope. It is in the Mod Squad, network. He is his own show. Let's not mistake anything about that. He is his own show, but we are now networking together. Go check out the Mod Squad Movie Talk Mondays, the horror show, you're watching the wrestling show, and the gamer show. And we just did our live this past Saturday for the 500 subscriber giveaway. It was a great show, but we do go live every Saturday night on YouTube and YouTube, Twitch, um, Twitter, and Facebook. So definitely check us out on those channels. And hey, you could win something very cool. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of the Mod Squad Network's Layeth the Squad Down. I am your host, and for Steve, since he couldn't make it with um, technical issues, I'm gonna say keep on wrestling, everybody.